Hi, I'm Regular Zach, and this is my limited set review for the Edge of Eternities Magic the Gathering set. Today we're talking all about the black cards in the set, and I'm going to be putting everything on a grading scale from A to F. And this is in the context of sealed and draft. We are only talking about the limited format. We're not talking about standard, constructed, or commander. So the rating scale is A to F. A's are bombs. These are the best cards in your deck, the ones that you like the most and you show off to your friends. B's are cards that actively pull you into this color, into black specifically, or specific archetypes. C's are the majority of your deck. It's a lot of the bread and butter. Most of your cards are these, and they're pretty good. D's are not good. You're not happy with these cards. You hope you don't have to put any D's in your deck, and if you do, you probably had a pretty bad draft. And then F's are under no circumstances should you put this card in your deck. It wasn't made for this format. It's really bad. And it's a bullet to be dodged. So let's start off with the commons right here. We have Hull Carver. It's a single black for a 1/1 artifact creature, robot assassin at common. It has death touch. Sweet. I like this card. I always love the 1-mana 1/1 death touch creatures, and this is no exception. Artifact makes this card go way up. So I think the artifact part does help it a lot more than we would think. Cheap artifacts are going to be really important in this set. I'm anticipating, but this is like a C level card. Doesn't push up to a C+, but artifact does go a long way. Next up, we have Embrace Oblivion. It's a single black for a sorcery at common. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature, destroy target creature or spacecraft. All right, this is pretty good. Oftentimes, if we have a sacrifice deck, which the red-black deck does want to be artifacty, sacrificey thing, that's really nice. And destroying creatures and spacecrafts, obviously, for one single mana is fantastic. This is going to play at probably a C level. You'll be happy to put it in your deck, but you do need to be in that archetype. The additional cost does actually matter. You can't just say, oh, this is just straight better than the other removal. You do have to want to sacrifice your stuff. Next up, we have Virus Beetle, an amazing card to sacrifice to Embrace Oblivion. It's 1 and a black for a 1/1 artifact creature insect at common. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card. Yes! I love these cards so much. They always play really well. They always hit one of your opponent's cards unless it's late in the game, but hey, what are you gonna do? But turn 2 Virus Beetle, a turn 5 Virus Beetle with a 3-drop is also really nice. Nabbing their last card feels so great, and it's an artifact, which is going to be really helpful for this set. And you get to sacrifice it to all the things that you want to sacrifice because it already did what it needed to do on the way in. Love Virus Beetle. This is a C+ for sure. I'm going to be looking for these. Next up, we have Beamsaw Prospector. It's 1 and a black for a 2/1 creature human artificer at common. When this creature dies, create a lander token. Sweet! Creatures that die into other things are awesome, and landers are going to be really helpful. It fixes your mana and ramps you. Love this a lot. I'm going to give this like a C+. Very good. 1 toughness is a little sad, but who cares? It's supposed to die. It's a creature that's supposed to die, and you get more stuff. Pretty sweet card. Next up, we have Dark Endurance. 1 and a black for an instant at common. This spell costs 1 less to cast if it targets a blocking creature. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Wow, 1 mana, you get to block, get +2/+0 and indestructible. That's pretty cool. And aggressively, it's perfectly reasonable, very normal. I like the blocking text on this. I like that extra, like, it's cheaper if you are blocking. So I'm going to give this card like a C. It's nice to have some sort of combat tricks in your deck, and this whole set has a lot of like flexible combat tricks that are very like they work in both aggressive and defensive ways. So this one pretty sweet. C for the Dark Endurance. I will play this card. Next up, we have Depressurize, which is 1 and a black for an instant and common. Target creature gets -3/-0 until end of turn. Okay, looks like a blue card so far. Then, if that creature's power is 0 or less, destroy it. Interesting. That's pretty funny. So this like weirdly kills like 4 mana 3/4s. You know, normally it'd be like -3/-3, and then, you know, obviously that would kill them. But this has a different feel to it, which is pretty funny. I like it. I'm surprised. Have they not done something like this before? It's a interesting design space where it's like if you don't have any power in space, you just melt or flatten or something. But this is cool. Instant speed, kill something with 3 power. I'm sorry, that's never going to not be funny to me. I think it's just a hilarious card. But this is like a B-. This is going to be strong. And yeah, you can use it in a bunch of different weird ways. I like it a lot. Next up, we have Comet Crawler, which is 2 and a black for a 2/3 creature insect horror at common. It has lifelink. It says when this creature attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Okay. Sure. 3 mana 2/3 attacks as a 4/3 lifelink if you sacrifice something. The fact that you have lifelink all the time is nice, but this is probably just going to be like a C- to like a D level card. I'm going to give it a C-. Lifelink is helpful, so that does do something, but I don't really love the when you attack you can sacrifice a thing cards most of the time. I'd like to sacrifice things whenever I want, not just during this window. So, yeah. But lifelink's helpful. So C- for the Comet Crawler. Next up, we have Insatiable Skitter. It's 2 and a black for a 2/2 creature insect horror at common. It has Menace. And it also has Void. At the beginning of your end step, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or a spell was warped this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. The black deck specifically will care about creatures dying more than other archetypes, so I think this card does have more of a home here, and the Menace goes a very long way because just having one big dummy is really bad. But in the end, this seems like a C-level card where like you'll pick up a couple counters. You're not super stoked on it. I don't think you should build your whole game plan around this card, but it's playable, and then warping your creatures to get this bigger is also pretty cool too. Next up, we have Grav Pack Monoist. It looks like it's Grave Pack, but it's Grav Pack because it's like gravity, I'm pretty sure. So Grav Pack Monoist is a 2 and a black for a 2/1 creature human scout at common. It has flying, and it says when this creature dies, create a tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. Nice. This is pretty sick. This is like a C+ level card. You have your Windrake, 3 mana 2/1. You attack whenever it dies, because it'll probably die because or if they don't kill it, you'll probably kill them. And then you get a body on the way out. Awesome. Pretty sweet. I like this a lot. This card's this is a good card. Always love more pieces of cardboard. Always great. Next up, we have Decode Transmissions. It's 2 and a black for a sorcery at common. You draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, and it has Void, so if something died or you warp something, it says instead you draw 2 cards and each opponent loses 2 life. So you're always drawing the cards no matter what. The number doesn't go up or down, but either you lose the life or your opponent loses the life. Cool. This card seems fine. It's like a C. I think it's like a C minus, depending how many cards we want to draw on this set. But the fact that you don't always have to lose a life is pretty cool, and you can just kind of smash your opponent. So let's just give this a C. This is a regular one. I'd play the first copy of this for sure. And yeah, doming your opponent for 2 sounds great. I love that. After an attack and you're like, well, now I'm going to refill my hand, and you also take 2 life. That is awesome. Sweet. C for Decode Transmissions. Next up, we have Temporal Intervention, which is 2 and a black for a sorcery at common. Void, the spell costs 2 less to cast if you had a non-land permanent leave the battlefield or a spell was warped this turn. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. So if a creature died, this only costs 1, and you get to nab any non-land permanent. So that's straight just Thoughtseize, but you don't lose the life. That's very strong. In limited, however, discard effects like this tend not to be extremely powerful. The 1-for-1, I'm going to nab something from you, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's going to be. And so I kind of think this is a D. I don't really know if we want to play this card in general. If you can play it for 1 mana, it's playable. If you can't reliably play it for 1 mana, it's not playable. I think that's what it is. So I don't know if it's like the sacrifice decks or aggressive decks would like it more. Aggressive decks will enjoy it because like on turn whatever 4, you're attacking in with some stuff. If something trades, you get to try to nab whatever big baddie they're trying to slam to block you. So that can be nice. But sometimes you'll whiff, and that feels really bad. So yeah, I'll probably just give it a D. Next up, we have Swarm Color. It's 3 and a black for a 2/4 creature insect warrior at common. It has flying, and it says whenever this creature becomes tapped, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, draw a card. Yes. And the fact that it says when this creature becomes tapped instead of the attacking thing. Earlier, we saw a sacrifice outlet that cared about attacking, but this one, you can, but you can station things with it. So if you're able to tap this to station something, you get to sacrifice something, draw a card. That seems pretty sweet. The 4-mana 2/4 in the air is very defensive, so I'm wondering what else we're going to be doing with this. I think it might just be stationing stuff. But being able to draw cards is awesome. So I'm going to give this like a C+. I don't think it cracks into the B range, but I think your sacrifice decks will care about this. That will be like white, black, and the black red decks. So yeah, try to find it in those ones. Maybe even black blue. You could have a little trinkety artifacts laying around that you can sacrifice. So yeah, Swarm Color. Yeah, all right. C+. Next up, we have Grabblade Heavy, which is 3 and a black for a 3/4 creature human soldier at common. As long as you control an artifact, this creature gets +1/+0 and has Death Touch. No. I don't really like these ones necessarily. A 4-mana 4/4 Death Touch seems perfectly fine, I guess, but you have to have the artifact, and when it doesn't have an artifact, it's really bad. And even when you do have the artifact, it's fine. So I'm going to give this a D. I don't know if we want to play this card. Not super exciting. Yeah. Meh. Grabblade sounds pretty sick, though. Next up, we have Gravill. All right, this one doesn't sound as sick, but it's a good card. 3 and a black for an instant and common. Exile target creature or spacecraft. Sweet. We don't get the extra clause of gaining 2 life like we had with Sephiroth's intervention in the last set. It is exactly the same card, essentially. But you can destroy spacecrafts, which will come up, but I don't think spacecrafts are going to be fantastic, so we'll see. But there's still like a, this kills everything. So this will probably perform at like a B level. It could be B- because I think the extra 2 life on Sephiroth's intervention was very helpful. But yeah, like a great card. It kills everything, so that's really nice. And it exiles it too. So exile is actually, a little bit of a bump. Will help you against some of the reanimating things or dies, triggers, and stuff like that. So Gravill, definitely premium black common. Next up, we have Perigee Beckoner. It's 4 and a black for a 4/5 creature horror at common. When this creature enters until end of turn, another target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control, and it has warp for 1 and a black. So you can pay the warp cost, you play it for the turn, it gets exiled at the end of turn, and you can play it from exile later. All right, so this is a weird ability to have on a creature. Oftentimes we'll see this as, this is kind of replacing like the spell that does it. That's 1 and a black. Target creature gets +2/+0, and when they die, return them. Except for the fact that your opponent obviously knows it's happening because you can only play creatures at sorcery speed, and so this is not a trick. It's like, you just play this and be like, all right, well, I'm attacking you with something. Like you could do, attack, my Virus Beetle is a 3/1 now. If you block it, then it comes back, you have to discard another card. Or you just take 3 damage. So they're basically just taking 3 damage. So you could obviously play it on bigger, better things. This theme is okay. But the fact that it's not a surprise really means that extra text is basically like, your opponent's just not going to block most of the time. So this is probably like a C-. I'm not obsessed with it. Interesting card, but not obsessed. Let's move on to the uncommons. We have Monoist Century, which is a single black for a 4/1 artifact creature robot. It has Defender. Shoot. 4/1 for 1 mana. Very exciting. Defender part, not nearly as exciting. But this thing trades super well. Your 1 mana spell can trade with their like 4 mana spell. Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. It's an artifact, and if spacecrafts become really good, this thing crafts or stations so well. Like, it has the best rate for just getting charge counters on your freaking stations. That's great. So I would definitely want to use it in those types of decks. Yeah, this card seems pretty cool. I'm gonna give it like a C plus. Honestly, I think I would just be happy to play this in most every black deck where it's like I want to do something bigger. Like aggressive black decks, not going to be excited about this, obviously. But any black deck that wants to be blocking or wants to do something later in the game, do some big splashy stuff, this card's amazing. So, yeah, C+. That card's awesome. Hilderblade is a single black for an artifact equipment at uncommon. Equipped creature gets +3/+1, and it has Void. At the beginning of your end step, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or a spell was warped this turn, attach this equipment to target creature you control, and the equip cost is 4. This is pretty cool, actually. I think we actually want to play this equipment because you're attacking in with the blade, hopefully. Well, I guess technically it doesn't do the first equip, but you play the blade, attack with some stuff, something dies, you put this on whatever's left. Next turn, you attack with some stuff, they probably block this thing, kill that one, you put this on a different creature, and keep doing that, and you never have to equip for 4? Sick. Yeah. This seems awesome. The only problem is that it equips at your end step. So you don't get to do the thing where you have like an equipment on the battlefield and then you get to do a fancy thing, put it on one of your creatures and then attack that turn and they weren't prepared for it. So that kind of just pushes it into like a C. It's an equipment that doesn't auto-equip immediately, but I am interested in it, which normally this would be like not playable. But yeah, I would play the Hilderblade. C just seems like a solid card. Next up, we have Tragic Trajectory. It's a single black for a sorcery at uncommon. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, or Void. Target creature gets -10/-10 if you do the Void thing. Sweet. Sorcery speed -10/-10. Still pretty good. I think that the Void thing is not going to be that hard to trigger. I think it's just going to happen. And a lot of games are going to revolve around whether you are, like, if your opponent's attacking you for a trade, you're like, do I actually block this? Because are they just attacking for Void? Maybe I should just take the damage so I don't have to worry about Void triggers. And this could be a huge reason why. Whenever they attack in, like, with their, like, their 3/2 into your 2/1 or whatever, you're like, I don't know. Maybe I don't block. So yeah, this is a B level card. Great removal spell. Super awesome. Also, just -2/-2 kills a lot of stuff anyway, so it seems great. Next up, we have Umbrell Caller Zealot. 1 in a black for a 3/2 creature human cleric at uncommon. Sacrifice another creature or artifact. Surveil 1. And you can do it as many times as you want. This is the sack outlet we're talking about. This is the one. This is just like sacrifice whatever you want. You get all the surveils that you'd like. Seems pretty strong in the sack decks. This would make like the active treason much better. This is what you want in your blue or your black-red deck. You would also play this obviously in black-white because you have a bunch of tokens. Yeah, super cool. I do think that I'll probably still leave this at like a C+, but it could go into the B range if you're building around a lot of Void stuff. And surveilling is no joke. That's a real thing. So C+ for the Umbrell Caller Zealot. Next up, we have Lightless Evangel, which is 1 in a black for a 2/2 creature vampire cleric at uncommon. Whenever you sacrifice another creature or artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, like, putting counters on it when you're sacrificing stuff is good, but you have to sacrifice stuff. A lot of times this card just says when a creature dies. The fact that you have to sacrifice something makes this way worse. I gave this like a D+, build around C+, but I think most decks are not going to be super stoked on this. And like maybe Lander decks could be okay with it, but I don't know. The fact that you have to sacrifice really sucks to me. D+. Next up, we have Himm of the Faller. That feels like Fall In, but it's not. Himm of the Faller. It's 1 in a black for a sorcery at uncommon. Surveil 1, then you draw a card and lose 1 life. And then the Void is if you have done the Void stuff, you get to draw another card. So if you Void, this is a 2-mana Surveil 1, draw 2 cards, lose 1 life. Which is awesome. Yep, I like this card. Probably like a C+. Being able to surveil and then draw is awesome. Oftentimes you can find what you're looking for. And 2-mana, like the 2-mana divination thing, sweet. Yeah, that's definitely what we're looking for. C+, a great card draw. Next up, we have Timeline Color, which is black for a creature Drix Warlock. It's a 2/2 at uncommon. It has haste. It says you may cast this card from your graveyard using its Warp ability, and Warp is a single black, and you pay 2 life. This seems super aggressive. I am very excited for this. Oftentimes, I don't really like the 2-mana double-pipped cards. So, like, the black in this card can be frustrating, so getting it on the battlefield right away could be annoying. But the added value of it just comes back over and over and over again is awesome. So I'm going to give this like a B. I think this card's actually really good. And yeah, I would be really stoked to be in a very heavy black deck with a splash of white or something. So maybe I could mitigate the life loss. But also just have a bunch of tokens and attack for a bunch. This seems great. Yeah, B for the Timeline Color. Next up, we have Fell Gravship, which is 2 and a black for a spacecraft artifact. It's an uncommon. It says when the spacecraft enters, mill 3 cards, then return a creature card or spacecraft card from your graveyard to your hand. Then if you station for 8 or more, it becomes a 3/2 flying lifelink creature. The mill part of this is nice, that like the 3 mana creature, non-creature thing that if you get to mill things and then return something to your hand, you do draw a card. And then later in the game, this becomes a little flyer. The lifelink is really helpful because you'll probably be losing a lot of life because you didn't play an actual creature. You played this thing instead. I think this is playable, but I don't love it. I don't love these spacecrafts. I'm going to give this like a C, though. I don't think it's like terrible. I think your Golgari decks will be interested in it. That actually could be the only deck you're interested in. So I'm still going to keep it as a C, but not in love. Spacecraft, man. I'm going to have to play with these to see if they're any good, because it really feels like they're not. Next up, we have Faller's Faithful, which is 2 and a black for a 3/1 creature human wizard at uncommon. It says when this creature enters, destroy up to 1 other target creature. If that creature wasn't dealt damage this turn, its controller draws 2 cards. Okay. This is pretty sweet. This is a fantastic game design. I really like the way that they fix this. Most of the time, we get these cards that are like, destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. Which just, it's always just so unplayable. Like, it's annoying when you get hit with it, but it's not really, it just doesn't work the way you want, and it's just not that exciting. I don't think it's that interesting. And oftentimes, it's not a good enough card that people are actually playing around it because nobody plays that card. This one, however, always kills something. Always. So you attack with a bunch of stuff, and then you always get to blow something up. Maybe you give your opponent 2 cards, or maybe you blow up your own Virus Beetle and draw 2 cards. Turn 2, Virus Beetle. Turn 3, Falls Faithful. Blow up your Virus Beetle, draw 2 cards. I'm all about that. That's awesome. This card's sick. I'm going to give this like a B. This seems awesome. Just very excited for this. Unfortunately, you do have to destroy a creature, so you can't just destroy an artifact, which would be busted, because then you're just destroying all your lander tokens or whatever to draw cards. But yeah, sweet. I really like Faller's Faithful a lot. This is such a cool card. More cards that have this vibe where there's so many different options to do. I like it. Next up, we have Curian Voidorn, which is 2 and a black for a 2/2 creature vampire soldier at uncommon. It says whenever this creature or another creature or artifact you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And you get to warp for a single black. This is another card that I like a lot. The added bonus of like warping this out for 1 and attacking with a bunch of things or sacrificing a bunch of stuff. Sometimes you just need this ability just for 1 turn to have something huge happen, and being able to just do it for a single black mana is really strong, I think. And you also get to gain life. You don't always get to gain life with these types of abilities. Blood Artist stuff, yes, a lot of times you do, but sometimes it just deals damage, and I like being able to gain the life. That's what I want. I want to do both. Hurt you and heal me. So this is a B, maybe a B-, but in the right deck, a solid B. Super sweet card. Next up, we have Scrge for Eternity, which is 2 and a black for a sorcery at uncommon. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature, then return target creature or spacecraft card with mana value 5 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, then create a lander token. So this kind of says, hey, in your green-black deck. Sacrifice a lander token so that you can get a 5-mana creature back on the battlefield, and then you get another lander token, and then everything's fine. Everything's fine, right? I think this card is pretty cool. Having a reanimation spell for 3 instead of 5 is pretty exciting. However, having the cap of 5 mana value is a little rough. So, like, a lot of times you're pretty stoked on having something huge come back, and the fact that this is our reanimation spell means that we don't really get to do that. And the fact that you have to sacrifice something, it all kind of wraps up into probably, I don't love it. It's probably like a C-. In the world where you do get to sacrifice an artifact instead of another creature could be cool, but in the end, I don't know. I would definitely play this card, but I'd be very wary about it. You don't want more than one, and you have to build your whole deck to make sure that you can hit all your creatures, because it really sucks when you're like, man, I really want that 6-drop back, but I can't. That's a bummer, especially with your reanimation spell that you have to sacrifice stuff to play. So, I don't know. C-. Next up, we have Dubious Delicacy. It's 2 and a black for an artifact food at uncommon. It has flash. It says when this artifact enters, up to one target creature gets -3/-3 until end turn. You can pay 2, sacrifice it to gain 3 life, or pay 2, sacrifice it, and target opponent loses 3 life. So either you heal from the food or you poison your opponent, and you always get to try to kill something. This is a pretty nice removal spell. In the artifact decks, you're super happy. Flash is awesome on this. 3 mana is a little expensive for what you're doing. So it doesn't kill everything. You know, we're used to this effect being at 2 mana. But the added utility of being able to kill your opponent or gain some life. And it's an artifact that you get to play on your opponent's turn. So maybe you trigger some artifact stuff in the black-blue decks. Okay, could be something. I'll probably give it like a B- or a C+. It does feel like in that range. If it costs 2, it'd definitely be a B-, and since it costs 3, it does kind of feel like a C+. But you do probably get to kill something. So let's keep it at C or B+, B-. Sorry. Ugh, I got so many things happening. But B- for the Dubious Delicacy. Next up, we have Blade of the Swarm. It's 3 and a black for a 3/1 creature insect assassin at uncommon. It says when this creature enters, choose one. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature, or put target exiled card with warp on the bottom of its owner's library. This is pretty cool. I don't know if this is a great card. So you either have a 4 mana 5/3, or you get to get rid of one of your opponent's warp cards. The fact that we're able to do something with the warped cards is nice. I think this is the only card that actually affects them at all. But it does kind of feel like this card's just not going to do very much. And just on rate, like the rate is perfectly fine. But it's probably like a C-. Doing the warp thing, they probably got value of the warp like on the way in. So maybe that's not very good. This could actually just be like a D. You know what? I'm just going to give this like a D+. I don't think it's awesome. The 4 mana 5/3 mode is weak, and being able to exile one of your opponent or put the warp card on the bottom of their library might be helpful during some situations, but I think they already got value out of it, so this is like putting a band-aid on a gunshot. So yeah, D for the Blade. Sorry Blade. Next up, we have Vote Out. Look at this poor guy. Oh, he kind of looks like he's wearing a tie, too. It looks like he's wearing like a suit and tie, and they're throwing him out of the spacecraft. It's a 3 and a black for a sorcery at uncommon. It has Convoke, so you can tap your creatures to help pay for the spell. It could be 0 if you have a black creature. And it says destroy target creature. So sorcery speed, tap your creatures to destroy something. This does seem interesting if you pair it up with some of the red cards or some of the white cards that care about tapped creatures. I do like that mode. As well as it destroys something, so you won't feel really bad tapping your creatures to do that, because then you're not going to get attacked for 1,000,000 on the way back. Cool. This seems really strong. This is like a solid B. Like, basically free. Awesome. Yeah. And the art is hilarious. Oh, God. Poor guy. Next up, we have Voidforged Titan. It is 4 and a black for a 5/4 artifact creature robot warrior at uncommon. It has an avoid ability at the beginning of your end step. If a non-land permanent was left the battlefield or you warped a spell this turn, you draw a card and you lose a life. Okay. That seems like a B- right there. Drawing cards. 5 mana, 5/4. But you sacrifice things and draw a bunch of cards at the end step. And when I say a bunch of cards, I mean always one card. So there is something to it, but I don't know. In the right deck, this seems great. And even in aggressive decks, this is great. I like this. Yeah, anything that says draw a card, it's got my attention. B-. Next up, we have Curian Durgecraft, which is 4 and a black for a spacecraft at uncommon. When this spacecraft enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. 5 mana Edict is very expensive. And then if you tap 7 powers worth of creatures, you get a 4/3 flying. It's like a C-. I don't like these spacecrafts. I really just don't like them. It's really expensive for the thing that it does on like the face, and then trying to tap a bunch of creatures to make it a 4/3 flyer. I'm gonna have to be proven wrong in these spacecraft things, but I think they're all kind of bad. Almost all of them are bad. At least you kill something, but 5 mana. Like I'm not gonna be. Oh, sick! Look at I got a bunch of Curian Durgecrafts. No, it's a C-. I would play it though. Next up, we have Monoist Circuit Feeder, which is 4 black for a 4/4 artifact creature, Nautilus. It has flying. It says when this creature enters until end of turn, target creature you control gets +X/0 until end of turn, and target creature an opponent controls gets -0 -X, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Sweet. Artifact payoff. This comes down, kills one of their things, makes one of your things big, and then you're left over with a 4/4 flyer for 6 mana. Like, this is much better than some of the other things we've seen. We have seen abilities like this often enough. A lot of times it'll just be kind of stuck onto one thing. Most recently, we've had some cards that were like, it makes like a menace creature and it gives +2/+2 and -2/2. The fact that this fluctuates depending on your artifacts, which I don't think it's going to be hard to have a bunch of artifacts. They're all pretty sweet. You'll be able to definitely kill something relevant and then get a huge attack that turn, as well as having a 4/4 flyer left over. Like, that seems like a B. In the artifact deck, this seems sweet, and I think this seems really good. Nice card. Yeah. Next up, we got the rares. This is 0-point Ballad. It's X and a black for a sorcery at rare. Destroy all creatures with toughness X or less. You lose X life, and then if X is 6 or more, return a creature card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. That can be your opponent's creatures. Anything that died because of this card becomes yours. This is a sweet board wipe. Man, I got a lot of sweet board wipes in this set. That is awesome. You do have to lose all the life, which is pretty rough. So there will definitely be situations where you draw this at the end of the game and you're like, I'm at 5 and they have a 6/6 and I can't kill it. So that would suck. But then in that situation, you get to go out in a blaze of glory. So who cares? But no, this card is great. I love anything that resembles board wipes in limited. I think now that we're looking at a bunch of them, I think we might have too many in this set. But the fact that you get to have a creature left over with the card that you played here, that's like an A. It could be like an A+. The losing life part's the hardest bit of it. But if you know this card is in your deck, make sure you're playing in a way that you'll have enough life to actually wipe the board, because this card is really scary. Really scary. A for the 0-point Ballad. Next up, we have Sunset Sabotur. It's 1 and a black for a 4/1 creature human rogue at rare. It has menace, and it has ward, discard a card. All great aggressive things. And it says whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and opponent controls. Yikes. Giving my opponent stuff at all sucks. I know that the joke here is that you're attacking with this 4/1, and then it has menace, so as long as they only have one creature, that creature's getting bigger, but you're still smashing for 4 every turn. But it could go sideways pretty quickly. I think this card is good in aggressive decks, but you need a lot of removal. You need to be playing so much removal in that deck to make sure that you don't just let them kill you. But it's probably like a C+ in aggressive decks. So I could see it being quite strong. And then you also you don't have to attack with it, obviously, but I mean, that's the whole point of the card. So aggressive black decks will be happy to play this card as long as they have tons of removal. Next up, we have Requuum Monolith, which is 2 and a black for an artifact. You can tap it until end of turn. Target creature gains whenever this creature is dealt damage. You draw that many cards and lose that much life. That creature's controller may have this artifact deal 1 damage to it. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, so this is interesting. This is one of those cards that makes it seem like there's so many X1s in black. We've seen a bunch of them. There's like the 4-1 and there's a bunch of 2-1s and stuff like that. And this is one of the cards that shows you like, hey, maybe if you have Requuum Monolith, you don't want to play those. Because essentially this is a 3-mana artifact that lets you draw a card like an extra card every single turn. You'll draw a card and lose a life. As long as your creature, your creature doesn't even have to survive. But you would like to ping your creatures that will, have 2 toughness so they won't just die. Because trading a creature for a card is not always what we want to do. But it also gives it the extra text of like, hey, I have a 4/4. I tap this. I draw a card, lose a life. Attack with it. If they block with something, you get to draw a bunch of other cards. Though you do lose a bunch of life in that scenario. So I think this card can be very strong. You have to be careful with it. But drawing an extra card every turn is huge. So this is like a B+. Just be careful about your attacks and stuff. Or if your opponent's playing red, it can be kind of scary because they could have some instant speed ways to deal damage to it to maybe hurt you. Like Bombard and stuff, where they're dealing like 4 damage to your creature, and then you just lost 5 life. You drew 5 cards, but you just got lava axed, so you could accidentally just kill yourself with this. But the power is there for sure. Next up, we have Zooifit, Osteoharmonist. Ugh, that's so hard to say. Zooifit, Osteoharmicist. There we go. We kind of got there. This is 1 black for a 2/3 legendary creature, human wizard at rare. You can tap it to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a skeleton in addition to its other types and has no abilities. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay. So it's a 3-mana 2/3 that's kind of hard to cast. And every single creature card in your graveyard comes back, but they don't have abilities. What you really want to play with this is that 4/1 with Defender. You play a bunch of those 4/1s, you trade off, and then they come back with no abilities so you can attack with them. That's pretty interesting. This looks like it's a card that wants to be an aggressive style decks where you really just want power and toughness. And the abilities just don't matter. And you want to have extra creatures. So every turn you just get to tap this and make a new creature and make a new creature and make a new creature. So yeah, I think this is a B level card, like B-. You do get to go cycle through your stuff. It is slow, but just being able to bring all your creatures back without having to pay any mana is huge. You just get bodies. You're just like, let's go. Let's do it. They also don't have like finality counters or anything, so you get to do it forever. So your opponent does have to kill this card. Oh, actually, now that I'm talking about it, it seems like it could be even better than that. This is probably like, I'm going to give this actually like a B+. I know it's slow, but I think that ability, like it does force your opponent to kill this card because it's going to be quite annoying. I think this card's very good. I've come around on it. I was kind of low, and then it is slow, but if your deck is prepared to just have big things, pretty sweet. Next up, we have Arch Enemy's Charm. It's black for an instant at rare. Choose 1. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Return 1 or 2 target creature and or planeswalker cards from your graveyard to your hand, or put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature you control. It gains lifelink. This is a D. Like, black is not something you're going to be able to play. And all the abilities are just stuff we get in other places. Like, black, exile a creature. You could play other cards that are, like, slightly more... The Grav kill is slightly more expensive, but easier to cast. And so, on average, you're not going to be able to play this card until, like, turn 6. Or Grav kill, you for sure can play on turn 4. So, no. Return creatures to your hand... There are other ways to do that as well that are cheaper and easier. And if you return any black creatures, you're definitely not playing them this turn because you're not going to have any black mana left. And then putting 2+1/+1 counters on something and gaining lifelink is also. This is like a mono black card that you could use in mono black decks. So if your deck is mono black, yeah, I guess you could play it, but I don't think you're hoping to be able to do that. And even with that, it still seems like it's flexible, but I don't think this is very good. Could trend to just like an F. Like you should just not try to play this card at all. I'm giving it formally a D, but it's probably an F. Next up, we have Chorale of the Void. It's a 3 and a black for an enchantment aura at rare. Enchant creature you control. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, put target creature card from defending player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. And at the beginning of your end step, it has Void. Sacrifice this aura unless a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or a spell was warped this turn. Okay. This is pretty interesting. So you get to attack and steal creatures from your opponent's graveyard basically forever. And if you lose this like aura, you still get to keep all the creatures. So you want to make sure that you can keep this going, but this is still pretty strong. As long as your opponent has cards in their graveyard, this is a good card. And if you steal one thing, I think it's probably just worth it, even if you can't keep this like thing around. It probably just means like this is a B. If you can't get a card, it has all the same problems as like a lot of the other auras do, which is like you have to make sure it actually sticks, and you need something in your opponent's graveyard. But it could be so powerful. Like this seems really scary at the end of the game. But there's a lot of stuff that needs to go right for this to work. Like you need to have your opponent with creatures in the graveyard that you want to steal and attack with. You have to attack with this creature, and it has to like not die to stay around, and you have to kill something else to keep it around. So there's a lot of stuff that's really hard about this. That's why it's not an A, but I think this card's good. Next up, we have Entropic Battlecruiser. It's 3 and a black for an artifact spacecraft at rare that does nothing when it enters. 4 mana, you get nothing. Though it does have the station ability of just 1. So you can station it with any card you have, which you could probably do right away. And so basically, it's like a 4 mana like artifact that you have to tap a creature to cast, basically. So that it says whenever an opponent discards a card, they lose 3 life. Okay. Sure. And then if it's 8 or more, it's a 3/1 flying death touch creature. It says whenever the spacecraft attacks, each opponent loses or discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. So it's a 3/10 flying death touch that always hits them for 3 because they either discard a card and lose 3 life, or they can't discard a card and they still lose 3 life. So this seems really annoying. I don't want, like, killing a 3/10 flying death touch is really hard. But I don't know. I still don't know about the spacecraft thing. I don't know if we just want to. Should we even play this card? I know it seems kind of bad, but I'm just going to give this like a C. I think it's just fine. It's playable. Really annoying if you start getting it going. Your opponent can never really hold up anything, or they're just going to lose a bunch of cards. But if you pair this with that green card that lets you hit your opponent for your toughness, that's the business. But other than that, I don't know. This is probably just bad. Let's give this a C-. I'm not obsessed. Spacecrafts, man, I'm not into them. Next up, we have Elegy Acolyte. It's 2 black for a 4/4 creature human cleric at rare. It has a lifelink. It says whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you draw a card and you lose 2 life. Okay. And it also has Void. At the beginning of your end step, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, you warped a spell this turn, create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. So you want to attack with a bunch of stuff. They'll trade off. If they do, you get a 2/2 robot. If they don't, you get to draw a card. That seems pretty great. That seems like an A. Just 4 mana, you attack with some stuff, you draw some cards. If you lose creatures, you make more creatures and draw more cards. This card seems awesome. So A for the Acolyte. Yeah, it also has the nice text where it's like you will only draw one card, which I think in this instance can be good because sometimes you have a bunch of little dudes and they all deal damage, and then if it lets you draw cards equal to the number of things that dealt damage, you lose so much life and you're not dealing enough damage back to your opponent because it's just like your virus beetles and stuff getting through. So I kind of like the text of you only get to do it once, which seems weird. It seems weird that I'm happier about that. This also has lifelink actually, so maybe we would be okay losing a bunch of life and just drawing more cards instead. But anyway, no, I like this card. The added just we sacrifice things and make more cardboard. Great. Next up is the Mythics. We have Sothera, the Super Void. It's 2 black for a legendary enchantment at Mythic. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent chooses a creature they control and exiles it. At the beginning of your end step, if a player controls no creatures, sacrifice Sothera, then put a creature card exiled with it onto the battlefield under your control with 2 +1/+1 additional +1/+1 counters on it. This is awesome. This is like an A-. This is so annoying. You slam this down and your opponent's like, well, I can't. If I attack into them and we trade in any way, then I just have to sacrifice even more creatures. And then if I had any good creature that was on the battlefield that died, they just get it. And obviously the Super Void's gone, but you just get a card off of them. And if you're in a sacrifice deck, you can just make them sacrifice a bunch of their creatures. And you can try to manipulate it so they always have one left to keep doing it, or until you get a creature that you want. I don't know. This seems pretty strong. I don't know. Grave Pact is good. And this is a really cool version of it. Obviously, you can't make sure that they never have any creatures because it will sacrifice itself. But then you get a huge creature back. And 2 +1/+1 counters is a big game. So, yeah, A for the Sothera, the Super Void. Next up, we have Alfariel, Stone Chosen. It's 3 black for a 3/3 legendary creature, human cleric at Mythic. Ward is discard a card at random. That's brutal. That's really brutal. And it also has Void. Whenever Alfariel attacks, if you did the Void thing, defending player loses half their life rounded up. So you just attack. You don't even have to hit them. You just attack, half their life is gone. Boom. Which can be pretty powerful. The body is kind of weak, so you probably only get to do this once, which is probably enough. Turn 6, you attack with a 3/3, half their life total, but you have to make sure that you can also make them sacrifice something to do it. So in the end, I think this is powerful, but still like a B level card. I don't think it's a bomb. It doesn't straight up just kill your opponent. It just makes it easier for you to kill them a little bit later. But you do have to make sure that you're sacrificing stuff or warping things. So there's that. Yeah. But anyway, pretty cool card. Definitely scary. But maybe not in the A range. Not seeing a ton of A's in the set just in general. So that's been interesting. That is all the cards from the regular set, but I do have one special guest to talk about, and it looks like this, which is pretty sweet. It's like this comic booky kind of funny, weird thing. I really like the art for all these. They're pretty sweet. They are pretty difficult to read, however, which I don't care that much, but anyway, this is Darkness, which is single black for an instant. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. I actually think this card could be pretty good. This feels like a B level card. I think Fog, I always love Fog, and being able to, your opponent often is not prepared for the Fog, especially if you're playing black. If you're playing black, there's no green in your deck. We don't see Fog effects nearly as much in draft anyway, so it's not something that pops up often enough, but if there's some crucial attacks where your opponent is attacking in and trying to do a bunch of damage and you just don't block anything, Darkness, you fog the whole thing, and then you get to crack back and maybe win the game. I think that experience is good enough for this card to be great. So really like it, especially if your opponent spent a bunch of time trying to make their spacecraft into something scary, and then you're just like, that didn't even do anything. Now it's my turn and I win because you tapped all your creatures just to make your spacecraft attack. So yeah, I think Darkness could be a B. It's probably closer to like a C or C minus, but I'm just so happy it's in the set because I think it's so funny and fun. So I'm definitely going to be taking it far higher than I probably should be, but that's just how I feel about these cards. Darkness and Fog always bring me back to being a kid, and I just love it so much. It's so great that it's in the set. So anyway, folks, that is everything I think about all the black cards from the set. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Which cards was I completely wrong about, or which cards was I spot on and you had not even realized how great that card was. So anyway, folks, thank you all very much. I will see you all next time. Bye.